Hey everyone, Casey for interwebkaiju here. This is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Don't Do Drugs, a rap song, and today we're going to be looking at Shin-Godzilla. Just forewarning, there's some spoilers which you might not want to watch. I know before Shin-Godzilla, Godzilla 2014, and Kong Skull Island, I watched the first trailer and then nothing else, which I think really helped the first watching of the film as far as its enjoyability. An abandoned boat is found in Tokyo Harbor. Underneath the harbor, a tunnel starts to collapse and soon a pillar of steam begins to emerge from the water. A meeting is called to assess the situation. Soon, a tail of a creature emerges from the spot. The creature begins moving upstream and eventually comes onto land, constantly evolving until we get a monster similar to past Godzilla incarnations. This Godzilla is a marine organism that was mutated by nuclear waste that was dumped into the sea. The movie is a complete reboot to the mythos, unlike most Godzilla reboots which retain the events of the first film. This gives Shin-Godzilla the advantage of showing how people would react to seeing such a large creature for the first time. Godzilla evolves throughout the film, and while some forms are pretty weird, it keeps things exciting and brings new traits to the creature. His name is given to him by Goro Maki, which I believe is the name of a character in another Godzilla movie as well. The movie gives Godzilla some new powers. His powers fluctuate from film to film, so this isn't too big of a deal. I mean, in past movies he can fly or turn himself into a magnet, so some alternate atomic breath rays are crazy. It is, however, utilized in a beautiful scene. I wouldn't say that I love the new design, but it surely differentiates itself from the rest of the Godzilla designs. I like some ideas, like his earlier forms having gills and fish eyes, and the preparation and execution of his breath, or death ray, whatever you want to call it. There's a new idea that after a heavy activity, Godzilla needs to cool down, whether it be going into the water or shutting its body down. This is primarily used in the movie to give the humans time to react and to form plans, but I do like the idea. I like that the characters, as well as the audience, are constantly learning about Godzilla. Like how they originally don't believe that a creature that large could support itself on two legs, or the science about how he's able to survive both in and out of water. A lot of the film takes place in meetings, but the constant back and forth between multiple characters, camera pans, angle changes, and the music keep the meetings from feeling too slow or taken away from the pacing of the movie. Additionally, the meetings usually drive the story forward and act as showing humanity's response to the monster, which is usually just displayed in militaristic ways in other movies. There's also always something else happening outside of the meetings to keep things interesting. The threat of Godzilla coming back or becoming active again to destroy the rest of Tokyo is always apparent. Some of the monster's CG looks bad, primarily the lighting and the CG blood. Some of the monster movement seems bizarre and jerky, but this is a new incarnation, and perhaps that's just how he's supposed to move. It's just drilled into my brain that giant monsters are supposed to move a certain way and have a certain cinematic weight to them. I was originally put off by the decision to go with a CG Godzilla, and honestly he does look weird in some scenes, and bad in others. But parts of this movie I don't think could have been done as well with practical effects. One scene in particular is the scene of Godzilla in one of his earlier forms going down the street, tossing a bunch of cars out of the way with his head. At least the CG isn't masked behind ultra close shots or heavy rainfall or overwhelmingly dark scenes. All the other CG looks well done though. In some scenes there's some bad spoken English, sometimes justifiably used, but other times it seems to be randomly thrown into a conversation between two Japanese-speaking characters. Though, to be fair, all the questionable English is more understandable than any of my Japanese. There's some found footage scenes that are a bit odd, but they are used sparingly throughout the film, and only in appropriate scenes. One of the main problems with this film, for me, is that the main conflict of Godzilla himself isn't really resolved. Instead, the conflict that is resolved is the threat of the United States dropping a nuclear weapon on Godzilla, and in extension Japan. There's a lot of bobbing camera work later on in the film that's quite annoying. I'm not sure if this was a choice by the filmmakers to try to keep urgency in the non-monster scenes, but it actually gave me a headache. Other than that last mentioned technique, the camera work, the camera angles, scene editing, they're all phenomenal. The music and sound in this movie are both great too. There's some old music and sound effects from earlier Godzilla films used to strike a nostalgic chord, and it did for me, but there are also great new music as well. There are some comedic relief scenes thrown in which are done well and are very grounded, nothing extravagant or anything that seems out of place. The actors all put in good performances. All the characters seem realistic. Even though they're all mostly down to earth and serious, they're all given different dialects and body language, which I really liked. Many characters are thrown at you during Shin-Godzilla, some for just a scene, but they're all likable and unique. Too often, characters in other films are just copies of each other with different names. This diversity makes the film seem more realistic, as well as the fact that the movie doesn't make any character seem safe from the monster or its actions.
So yeah, I'd highly recommend this movie. It's not one of those rompy, campy kaiju movies, and there's no monster fight, but everything's very well done. It's interesting. Definitely check it out. Shin-Godzilla. And this is the subtitle version, but the English dub comes out August, so I'll definitely check that out as well. Thanks for watching.
この有識者の結論も上陸行動は常識として考えられないと